The night the Duke arrived, the house trembled with fear and hope at the same time, and in the shadow of a glittering chandelier stood a girl who had already been chosen to be forgotten. While silk gowns whispered and candles burned brightly, she remained still near the wall, knowing that destiny was passing through the front door but never meant to stop for her. Everyone believed beauty was power, that perfection decided fate, and that love followed only the flawless. No one imagined that the greatest turning point of the night would come not from the most admired face, but from the one everyone else had quietly dismissed. Before the story truly unfolds, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that worth is deeper than appearances, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that stay with you long after they end. She had grown up knowing her place. From the moment she could understand words, she learned she was the lesser daughter. Her sister was the pretty one, the one neighbors praised, the one her father showed proudly to guests. The younger girl, with softer features and eyes that always seemed to hold too much feeling, was often told to stay quiet, to step back, to let her sister shine. It was not cruelty shouted loudly, but neglect delivered daily, quietly shaping her belief that she was never enough. Her mother passed away early, leaving behind a home where affection became scarce and comparison became constant. Over the years, she learned to fold herself into corners, to observe rather than expect, and to find comfort in silence. The Duke's visit changed the rhythm of the household overnight. Servants polished floors until their hands ached, mirrors were cleaned until they shone like water, and dresses were prepared as if the future itself would be sewn into their fabric. The Duke was known for his power, his wealth, and his solitude. Stories followed him everywhere. Stories of loss, of a heart hardened by betrayal, of a man who valued loyalty and truth more than flattery. For her father, this visit was not about honor or alliance, but opportunity. A marriage to the Duke meant security, influence, and a restored name. And in his mind, there was never a question of which daughter would be offered. The pretty sister had been raised for this moment. She knew how to smile just enough, how to lower her gaze at the right time, how to move as though the world was always watching. The rejected sister watched from a distance as preparations centered around someone else's future. She was given simple tasks, small responsibilities, nothing that suggested she was part of the plan. Yet that evening, as the Duke entered the hall, something unseen shifted. His presence was calm but commanding, his gaze sharp, as though he could see through layers of performance and expectation. While everyone focused on presenting perfection, he noticed what others ignored. As the night unfolded, the rejected sister found herself moving quietly through the room, helping servants, adjusting fallen decorations, ensuring things ran smoothly without drawing attention. She did not know that every small act was being observed. The Duke saw how she moved with care, how her eyes softened when others were stressed, how she listened more than she spoke. There was no effort to impress, no hunger for approval. She carried herself as someone who had learned resilience without reward. Her father, proud and impatient, made his intentions clear through his actions. He guided the Duke's attention toward the favored daughter, showcasing her beauty as though it were a prized possession. The rejected sister felt the familiar sting of invisibility, the quiet acceptance that this was how things were meant to be. Yet when the Duke finally spoke, his interest did not follow the expected path. He asked questions that went unanswered by practiced charm, questions about responsibility, compassion, and strength shaped by hardship. The pretty sister responded with rehearsed grace, but her answers floated without weight. Meanwhile, the rejected sister stood nearby, never intending to speak, but her presence carried a different energy. When the Duke's eyes met hers, there was no performance, only honesty mixed with uncertainty. In that moment, he saw something he had not seen in years. He saw a soul shaped by pain yet untouched by bitterness. He saw someone who knew what it meant to be overlooked and still chose kindness. The room held its breath as his attention lingered where no one expected it to. Her father's shock was quiet but sharp. The choice unfolding before him was not the one he had planned. Pride twisted into fear as control slipped through his fingers. The rejected sister felt confusion rise within her, a sense that the world had tilted slightly off balance. She had lived so long believing she was invisible that being seen felt unreal, almost frightening. When the Duke made his decision known, the room shifted from celebration to stunned silence. He did not choose the beauty everyone admired. He chose the one no one had prepared. Life changed swiftly after that night. The rejected sister was thrust into a future she never imagined, one filled with uncertainty rather than fairy tale certainty. Leaving her childhood home meant leaving behind neglect, but it also meant stepping into a world where she did not yet know her place. The Duke's estate was vast, elegant, and intimidating, yet within its walls she found something unfamiliar: respect. Servants treated her with care, not because of obligation alone, but because she treated them as equals. Slowly, she realized that dignity could exist without cruelty, and authority without arrogance. The Duke was not an easy man to understand. His silence was heavy, his routines rigid, and his emotions carefully guarded. Yet he never dismissed her presence. He valued her opinions, sought her thoughts, and trusted her instincts. For the first time in her life, she was not compared to someone else. She was simply herself. There were moments of doubt, nights when she wondered if she truly belonged, if she was merely a symbol of defiance rather than choice. But each day, the Duke's quiet respect reaffirmed that she'd been chosen not in spite of who she was, but because of it. Challenges came, as they always do. Nobles whispered behind closed doors, questioning the Duke's decision, criticizing her appearance, her background, her worth. The rejected sister felt old wounds reopen, but this time, she did not face them alone. She learned that strength was not about proving others wrong, but about remaining true to herself despite their judgments. She poured her energy into learning, into supporting the estate, into caring for those who had long been ignored. Her compassion transformed the atmosphere around her, softening even the harshest corners. Over time, the Duke changed as well. The walls he had built began to lower, not through force, but through trust. He found peace in her presence, in conversations that required no performance, in moments of shared silence that felt complete rather than empty. Love grew not as a dramatic spark, but as a steady flame, warming spaces that had been cold for years. Together, they built a partnership grounded in understanding rather than expectation. Back in her father's house, regret settled like dust. The pretty sister, once admired, now lived with the weight of missed opportunity and unspoken resentment. Beauty alone had not secured the future everyone promised. The rejected sister's absence revealed the quiet strength she had always carried, the stability she brought without recognition. For the first time, her father understood that value was not something to be displayed, but something to be honored. As the rejected sister stood one evening overlooking the estate, watching the horizon glow with fading light, she reflected on the path that led her there. She had not changed her face, her past, or her nature. What changed was the chance to be seen. The Duke's choice had not rescued her, it had revealed her. She realized that being chosen did not erase pain, but it gave meaning to survival. And in that realization, she found peace. If this story has touched your heart so far, take a moment now to comment below and share what part resonated with you the most. Your words mean more than you realize. In the end, the story was not about a Duke defying expectations or a father misjudging his child. It was about the quiet power of those who endure without applause, who love without guarantee, and who remain kind even when kindness is never returned. The rejected sister did not become extraordinary because someone finally noticed her. She had always been extraordinary, simply waiting for a world willing to see beyond the surface. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you of your own hidden worth, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and leave a heartfelt comment. Your support helps stories like this reach those who need them most, and your engagement keeps kindness alive in a world that too often overlooks it.